Welcome back to episode 54 of Establish the Collection. I am your host, Cody Main, joined as always by Yankees fan, by Aaron Judge fan, by New York resident Gary Hartman. Gary, what's the buzz around the city feeling like today after Aaron Judge ties the record?
Yeah, so we're recording this on Thursday morning. Aaron Judge hit number 61 last night. I was out on a walk just because I go for my walks at night after I get all my work done. And I obviously was keeping my eye on all of his at-bats. I pop into a bar in 84th and 2nd just to catch his at-bat, and it ended up being the one that it did it. And I didn't order a drink. I was in the bar for 10 minutes. We were all celebrating. I was high-fiving random patrons. We were all going nuts. The vibe is the vibe, man. Everyone's really, really excited about this. I mean, it's become a national news story. But we're all very excited about what's going on there.
What an awesome New York style way to enjoy the 61st home run of the season. That's fantastic. What a way to experience it. What is this doing for Aaron Judge's market, Aaron Judge's marketability? What is this doing for just him as a whole right now?
Yeah, well, I'm going tomorrow night, I should say. So by the time you hear this, the game might be going on or it may have already happened. But I'm hoping to see number 62. I was there in person for number 60 a couple weeks ago. So it would be great to be, I'm in the same seats. So it'd be great to be there for 62 and see the record also. Really, really excited. It's doing everything though. I mean, first of all, best contract season of all time in any sport, right? He bet on himself. He bet on himself. He turned down $330 million from the Yankees or whatever it was. And he's going to get whatever he wants, like a blank check from whatever team's willing to offer it to him. I think it's only like a 65% chance he's back on the Yankees. I don't know how you let him walk after this season, but it's the biggest sports baseball story in years and years and years. And every single one of his cards is up, both over the last 6 months, 3 months, 1 month, 2 weeks, no matter what you're looking at on Card Ladder. If you look at just his Bowman Chrome 2013 Bowman draft, he was in Bowman draft from 2013. Non-autograph, non-refractor, nothing, just a base. PSA 10 is a pop of around 1,100. Is up another 63% over the last 2 weeks. That's almost a $900 card, just the base. Just the base. Nothing going on, no autographs, nothing. If you look at just his base, Topps Chrome 2017 rookie as well, up another 19% over the last 2 weeks. That's a $350 card on almost a 5,000 pop. When we spoke about it last week, I think it was just like a $300 or $285 card. We talked about it 2 weeks ago. So
yeah, right.
Up another 40 to 60 bucks is that card. And you're going to see it across the board. All of his signature stuff, high end. I put a patch auto up on eBay just to see what kind of offers I get if and when he hits 62 here. His base auto Bowman Chrome is up to almost $6,000. That's up 500% over the last 6 months. Another 25% over the last 2 weeks. So it's historic. And you know, once you're etching yourself in baseball history, like Judge has already done, you know, you're jumping another platform. Even if he has another season like this again, It's like Roger Maris always had a card market as well. Not like Mickey Mantle or Willie Mays, but he did. And Roger Maris, you know, we think about him in baseball history as one of these greats. He wasn't. He had like 3 or 4 great seasons, but he did have that record, right? He's a Hall of Famer because of it. And it's Judge is already a better probably overall career than Roger Maris had. So, you know, take that for what you will.
That was going to be my next question. And I hate to reduce this news story, you know, I hate to reduce this whole season for Judge like to his card market, but that's obviously what we're here for. This just moves him into another tier of like, his card market just moves into another tier after this season. Does this stay? Is this sustainable? Or as soon as this run is over and people have forgotten about this season, we're going to see this tanking of his market?
Yeah, I think it stays through the playoffs, and at least as long as the Yankees are alive in the playoffs, just as long as he's still making noise. And then I actually think it could stay through the offseason because he is going to be the biggest free agent maybe in history now. I'm like, I get we've had like Bryce Harper free agency and stuff like that, but coming off of the actual most modern, you know, you could make the argument if he hits 62 that it's the real home run record. Like he might be the biggest free agent in MLB history, at least from a narrative standpoint. So I think it'll stay through that. And I think it would stay until he gets hurt next year or slows down or isn't on the same pace. And then maybe you'll still see people swilling off a little bit, but it could be one of those things that's just like, I want Aaron Judge cards. I want to have history.
Piece of history.
Yep. So if I'm buying an Aaron Judge rookie card, I just want to hold it. And that's really it. So wouldn't be surprised. I don't know though, because since I've been in the card market, there hasn't been a story like this. So I honestly don't have an answer for you.
And obviously this is taking on-field performance to a whole nother level. This has become, a national story at this point now, but it's still good to see that performance rewarded in his card market. We know it will be once we see these type of performances, these full season performances. But I mean, the type of percentage deltas that you're talking about with his card market moving this season has just been, fantastic and phenomenal to watch.
Yeah, I have one Bowman rookie card, not even like the first Bowman, just a PSA 10 rookie card. I don't want to sell it. I just want to give that to like my kid. The patch autograph, the patch autograph card I mentioned was out of Top Sterling. It's 1 out of 3 with like a jumbo patch on card autograph. It's a sick card. I put it up just to see what kind of insane offers I'll get, but I have no problem not selling that. That's something I want to, I have just let it sit, hang on. I want to remember this season forever. I want to one day, talk to my future child about this season and go to Yankee games with them and tell them that I was there for when he hit number 60. I was there for hopefully when he hit number 62. And these cards can be kind of a gateway to those memories. And I know that sounds kind of fartsy, but it's true in a way.
No, that's what it's all about. I'm glad you brought it there because that's truly what all of this is about. I don't have any of those joyous sports memories because I am a Nebraska Cornhusker fan, unfortunately. So
one day
there will be no happy memories of me ushering my kids into their Husker fandom. There will only be alcohol and sadness to help them get through their pain.
I mean, that's how I feel about the Knicks. So, we'll at least there's that. But yeah, I mean, it's, if you're not watching at this point, and maybe by the time you hear this, he already broke the record, but we have 6 or 7 games left of the regular season. You don't have to tune in much. Just catch his at bats. It's special. It's very exciting.
Just catch the plate appearances. It's been a while since we've had major league cut-ins during college football games, during other sporting events where it's like, hey, this is appointment viewing now. You got to see Aaron Judge's next at bat.
Totally. Yeah. They had mentioned that on the Giants game on Monday night, if he were to have tied the record at that game, because he was still sitting on 60, that they were going to cut in to the game. Mid Monday Night Football, national televised on the big screen, because obviously it's in New York. People care. And this is still a baseball town in a lot of ways. It's a basketball town too. But people really care about the Yankees and the Mets here. They really, really do. Me included. I go like 8 to 10 games a year. I love it. And I'm not a big, baseball fan as a whole these days, but I am still a big Yankee fan. And so this has been very exciting, but yeah, excited to see what happens, and the card market will continue to go up, but I think we had to lead with this. There was no other story worth even mentioning.
Yeah, absolutely. And if baseball is going to make a noise big enough to cut into a Monday Night Football game, it's going to be something like this, because the football has been really good to us the first couple of weeks. We've seen some awesome games. We've, unfortunately, as we've grown accustomed to now, seen some poor performances in prime time, but that's to be expected at this point. But the Sunday main slates have been a joyous watch, and we've seen a lot of good performances from a lot of young quarterbacks. And I think that's where we got to lead off with the football stuff. The card market in the football aspect, it's still down according to the card ladder index. But as we talked about on the show 2 weeks ago, there's some stuff included in there that's just fluff, and it's really not a true gauge of the football market, in my opinion. But if you sort by the modern stuff and start to look at who's moving over the last couple of weeks, it's the names that you would expect to be moving. It's Jalen Hurts, it's Tua Tagovailoa, it's Patrick Mahomes is up. It's all these guys that have started out this season on a tear, and again, just like we've seen with Aaron Judge's card market ripping because of his on-field performance, it's good to see these guys like Jalen, like Tua, like Lamar Jackson, and all the guys that invested in their card markets. It's good to see that rewarded with some awesome on-field performances.
Yeah, I'll take Josh Allen's up, as well as the Bills continue to be a Super Bowl favorite here. So, the guys, and shout out to us for being in on Lamar preseason. I mean, he is looked as good as he has since his MVP season, no doubt. Excited for that Bills-Ravens game this Sunday. But you're right. I mean, we're still in a great age of exciting young quarterback talent. And I'm really excited to see how this continues to progress, because we've seen this now for a while, where now Herbert and Burrow have had really big markets, and Josh Allen and Mahomes, but someone like Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson, who are true dual threats, right? And they're winning though. They're winning dual threats. And Lamar, we have a bigger sample size on. He won the MVP. His market got really high. I just want to know what kind of staying power these has, because that is the future of the position. And I'm curious, how reactionary will the NFL card market be to the fact that the future of the position isn't just white 6'6" pocket passer anymore, and while we still have some amazing ones like that, Justin Herbert, that guy still uses his legs, right? And it's not the same as it once was. And I don't think it's fair for Jalen Hurts' long-term investment outlook to be that much different than Joe Burrow's, if we actually think Hurts can have a 12, 15-year career that could be winning division titles, potential Super Bowls as well. So I'm curious if you have any takes on how you think the market will begin to react as kind of, maybe the Gen Zs get older and they have money to invest in this market, but I still am a little bit afraid that everyone's just so it's Peyton Manning, it's Andrew Luck, it's these guys that's who you invest in. I don't think we should be thinking that way anymore.
That's such an interesting take, because we've seen these markets start to really rip. And, in Jalen Hurts' case, we were talking about his market before the season when we were doing our card draft, and his base card in a PSA 10 was going for $75, $80, $90 max preseason. That thing's already up to 140, 145, but like, how much more would that thing have ripped if he was just Justin Herbert or if he was just Joe Burrow? You know what I mean? And I think that there is some hesitancy there from collectors. Maybe it's an older base. Maybe, maybe there's just more weariness about potential injuries with guys that are running. But yeah, I think you're totally right, and your point's well taken, that like maybe there's some unwillingness to totally invest in these guys, although their markets have started to move. Why haven't they moved more? You know what I mean? Like, are collectors still just holding out and banking on some potential injury that might affect their card market, or just assuming that these guys don't have staying power? Because that seems crazy. You know what I mean? Like with Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, probably two of the best overall quarterbacks so far this season, let alone just best dual threat quarterbacks. Yeah, I think that this might be a situation where either A, we could be early and still be able to collect and invest in these guys early, while, you talked about Gen Z, while maybe others catch up to us. Or it could be the other side of the coin, where maybe it just never catches up, and maybe these guys, their markets will always suffer somewhat because of the lack of believability in the talent or something.
Yeah, it's a staying power thing to me, and that's why I think there could be an opportunity if you're investing in this stuff for long term. And I'm not saying you should or you shouldn't, but if you are, someone like Jalen Hurts is actually really interesting to me, where I used to maybe not think so, but now I think about the fact that guy's a horse. Why isn't he durable? Like, especially compared to someone like Lamar, like he's basically like Josh Allen from like a body perspective. He does the same type of things as far as what he's able to do with his legs and just truck people over. I don't see any reason to think that he's going to have a large history of injuries, for long term. And, if he's able to, he's taken a huge step up from as a passer this season. If he's able to continue that ascension and keep this Eagles team on a winning track, I don't see why these guys shouldn't have staying power. So I'm just curious to see how the market reacts to that kind of stuff. And if you think that it could adjust finally after a 70-year sample size of it not doing so, or at least a 30-year sample size of where these kind of quarterbacks have been in the league, right? 40 years. But
yeah,
if you think that it finally might start to, I think we could be early on some of this stuff. I really do.
The Jalen Hurts one is interesting, specifically for like maybe end of season opportunities as well. And, you have to kind of identify your own investment time horizons here with these guys. But like the Philly schedule doesn't seem to get that much harder. They're going to have so many winnable games on that schedule.
Super easy this year.
East is super easy. You've got the Cowboys twice. You've got the Giants twice. Sorry to do that to you. You've got the Jags, who I think kind of looks like a little bit of an upstart team after they beat the Chargers. But you got the Bears, the Colts, the Texans, the Commanders, the Steelers. So many easy winnable games on this schedule.
When I meant the East, I'm like the NFC East in general. We all have easy schedules. So we play the AFC South and the NFC North.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Yeah, you get the Packers and the Vikings in there, but like besides that, your out of division games are really easy. That's why all of the Giants, Eagles, Cowboys, and Washington team rate as some of the easier schedules in the league. So yeah, you're on the money there.
But there could be, there could be like a playoff window here too with Jalen Hurts, where like normally I wouldn't be buying into this hype this early in the season, but man, he's checked every box so far. Yeah,
for good reason, right? It's like them and the Bucks now. They're like right together. So.
Yeah, the team is loaded. Outside of Jalen Hurts, that team is loaded. But there's so many outs here. I think whether it's end of season or long term, because he's passed every test that the Eagles threw at him so far, and I think this was like a prove it year for Jalen Hurts. If they didn't go out and perform, maybe they were going to look in the quarterback market, but not going to do that now.
The Seahawks laid the blueprint for how to build a team with a quarterback on a rookie contract, specifically a quarterback on a rookie contract that wasn't a first round pick, right? And you just surround them with talent and take full advantage of that window. The Seahawks laid that blueprint back in 2013-ish with the Legion of Boom, and clearly a lot of credit to that Eagles brass for doing something similar, because the Eagles are pretty much holeless on their roster. They have maybe the top offensive line in football. They have strong running backs, 2 alpha wide receivers. And then, you go up and down their defense. And yeah, there's some holes maybe on the front seven here and there, but their secondary is damn good. And, very few holes on the roster is what I'm saying. And yeah, there's staying power there for sure for this season, definitely.
I wanted to transition this a little bit into the all-day market, because the markets for these guys and their cards, they're up. Trevor Lawrence is another one who his card market is up. Obviously, it's still not a mature market for someone like Trevor Lawrence, but his market is up. You mentioned Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Like these guys, their markets are up. And one way to take advantage of that is through all day. I wanted to get excited about Jalen Hurts, but he doesn't have any good moments on the site. His debut is out of 10,000. Not really that interested in that. And then his other moment on the site is, out of 1,200. Like, give me something a little bit more scarce for my boy Jalen Hurts. But I think we got to look at some of these guys over on all day. We talked about that Trevor Lawrence moment, specifically a guy who his card market is up through the first part of the season as the Jags look,
amazing.
They're passing the test, man. They look fantastic. And the market over on all day is pretty cool. So I know we talked about that, his debut moment at 899 as being one on the site that had a little bit of potential. Does that interest you at all now that it's down to 749 after, Trevor Lawrence is really passing the test and Christian Kirk looks like a good addition this offseason, and the marriage between him and Doug Peterson looks fantastic.
Yeah. I haven't been doing too much buying in the physical market, but Trevor Lawrence has been the guy that I was trying to do as much as I could have in the offseason. And that's, as you mentioned, that's certainly looking like it is coming to fruition. I mean, you could still get plus 235, plus 240 AFC South Jaguars tickets.
Crazy.
I think that's absolutely crazy. So yeah, I would certainly be interested. And, I think specifically for his all day stuff, it makes a ton of sense to me. 749 that could be when we were touting that, it was like 800 or so. So it hasn't really moved, right? I mean, that could be a result of people trying to take advantage of the hot start, right? So I wonder if there's more inventory on the market. I'm kind of looking right now.
So the other thing, quick, just to mention as a macro point, and I hate this about the fact that we haven't had just the bandwidth to focus on all day as much as I would have liked to as a show. But I know just tangentially being involved in this market and keeping an eye on things and following along on Twitter, like they've got stuff that's going on, kind of like Top Shot did, where like it's not necessarily artificially moving the market, but their challenges and things like that will move moments that maybe wouldn't move in the card space, if that makes sense. You know how like when Top Shot had all the challenges and rewards for completing challenges, it would cause moments that we didn't necessarily think should move to move. There's some of that, I think, on all day too, where like certain stuff is just moving because people are completing challenges and stuff like that.
Yep. I think that's totally fair. And they've been doing a lot of these weekly challenges now as well. So, I mean, that's something to definitely be keeping an eye on. But yeah, in general, I think Trevor Lawrence is such a great example of someone that, if you weren't buying in the offseason, I don't think you're going to have too many opportunities here to be buying at much lower than he is right now across or in all day, especially because stuff will start to come back from PSA as well now. As they've opened up a lot more tiers. So, Trevor's just a guy that you kind of missed the boat. Looking at the rest of that class, we were speculating on this year, but all the red flags galore. I mean, Mac Jones first of all, wasn't looking good to begin with. Now he has the high ankle sprain. He's going to be out for a while. I don't want to harp on Trey Lance. Just sucks what happened to that kid.
Sucks.
Totally. We're getting Zach Wilson back this weekend. It looks like he right now might have the shot to have the second highest upswing of the five guys this season. I mean, because Justin Fields and the Bears offense looks just so lost. And freaking minor league football over there, whatever's going on that offense. So after Trevor Lawrence, it's like a big jump down. And that's kind of what we were always expecting to see happen with this class. But after Trevor Lawrence, it seems like a big jump down. And Zach Wilson is the guy that, you have a week or two because they're first of all, they're passing at an insane rate. I don't expect that to continue with the Joe Flacco setting the record for the most pass attempts through 3 weeks. Did Joe Flacco and the Jets, but I think game script will be positive for them quite often. If Zach Wilson is able to take a step up, we know he's got the weapons. We love Zach Wilson. We like Elijah Moore. We love Garrett Wilson. We love Elijah Moore. I don't see why Zach Wilson, we've been touting him for a little bit as kind of like a very low risk, high reward type of guy. And you're about to get him back. So with no other competition from that class really besides Trevor.
Yeah, insanely low risk for Zach Wilson right now. I mean, everything is so cheap from his base market from last year's class, but also looking over it all day, everything is just incredibly cheap for Zach Wilson right now. So if you want to get in a little bit early, and he could be the guy that sits up there with these other guys, with Trey Lance injured, unfortunately, Mac Jones dealing with the ankle sprain, but also kind of struggling in that offense. Justin Fields, boy, man, I can't believe the Bears pass rate. It truly looks like a JV football team out there just running the ball down after down after down. And when they do give him the opportunity to throw, he hasn't performed. So why do you can't really blame him for wanting to keep it on the ground. This Zach Wilson Jets team is going to be in a lot of favorable game scripts. I don't think they're going to win a ton of games. They've got a really tough rest of season schedule, but don't need him to win games at this point. You need him to prove to collectors that he's a good quarterback, right? Like, can he be a franchise quarterback? And you can see that in games that they're losing. It's all about what he's going to do with Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, and Corey Davis around him. So I'm in on Zach Wilson. I know I talked about it before the season started, that if that got low enough on all day, I was going to scoop a bunch of them and just hope that he had a big start when he returned. It's down to $31. I think when I talked about it, it was around 34, 35. I think that's a moment that after I get off the show, I'm going to pick up a few of those and see if we can offload those in a couple of weeks.
I know you and I are hoping for the Wilson to Wilson connection being strong, because we have
we're heavily invested there already.
Yep. So let's hope for that. I just wrote Elijah Moore in the cheap wide receiver volume column this week. If you're into DFS, there's pieces to pick on for the Jets throughout all different types of gambling and investment things for sure. We'll see. I want to ask you about Tua, because we mentioned him as a guy that's up, obviously had that insane week 2 performance of 6 touchdowns and really threw himself back on the map. I mean, we also mentioned this in the offseason. We were going to find out what Tua Tagovailoa was this year, because Mike McDaniel was going to put him in position to succeed in a friendly offense, to surround him with skill and his talents, to maximize his talents. I know you're a guy that, had invested in some Tua over the last couple of years. I'm curious where you stand as far as your Tua inventory right now, and what you're doing with that now that we're kind of on a Tua upswing at the moment.
Yep, I've started to sell. As hard as that is to admit, as big of a Tua guy as I am, and I'm still taking losses on some stuff, unfortunately, because I was buying at such highs. But I'm taking smaller losses than I would have if I had offloaded previously. So there's some stuff that's been up, but mostly lower to mid tier stuff that when I was getting involved was kind of comfortably in my budget range. But I've started to list, I've started to sell, and it's been the positive experience that I had hoped investing into it would be. In like now, I think there are some question marks that are, injury related, especially going into this game, that like, if you wanted to unload and by now, when you're listening to this, it's probably too late. Hopefully he went out and performed tonight. This being Thursday, the game against the Bengals, hopefully he went out and performed tonight. But I think that like, there's still so much uncertainty. And I think collectors are still so weary that if he goes out and performs poorly one night, it could be enough for that market to go back to where it was. You know what I mean? I don't think that he's got a long leash at this point from collectors. I don't think collectors are saying, oh, it's the Bengals. They just played Josh Allen, at the 4 days rest in 100-degree Miami heat. Now they're 4-point dogs in Cincinnati. We'll give him a pass. I think he gets crushed if he goes out and struggles tonight. You know what I mean? So I'm a little bit worried.
I mean, we mentioned Jalen Hurts. He was one of 2 3-0 quarterbacks. Tua is the other one with the Dolphins. I do think tonight is a big test going into Cincinnati on the short week. He's a little banged up. I'm a little less worried from you as far as like, I think that, I do think this Dolphins team is going to be competing for, at the very least, a wild card all year. I mean, Buffalo's probably win the division. So for a wild card. And I think Mike McDaniel is going to keep having them be, have some firepower. So when Tua's back to being 100%, they get a little bit in the middle of the season. Maybe I haven't looked at their schedule, but maybe they get a couple soft games. I do think there'll be other opportunities for Tua to shine this year, both on the field and in his card market. So if you miss the window to sell, after tonight, and if things don't go right, I think there will be some other opportunities this year. But I would be looking to sell Tua throughout this season. In his first full season with Hill and Waddle, and McDaniel trying to put his name on the map and all that kind of stuff. I've also been selling some Tua though. I've been
I think it only made sense. This was the start that we needed from Tua, 3-0. Especially after that week 2 performance where he let him back. Even after last week, they were the talk of the NFL. It's 2 games back to back that have basically been what everyone wanted to talk about after Sunday finished, and you have to sell into those positions. I think that's the only right thing to do. I would not be buying Tua right now if you feel like you missed a window. Right. I think this is the wrong time to do it. But you mentioned, some stuff that's encouraging. They do get the Vikings, the Bears, the Texans, the Jets twice still, the Lions, the Steelers. There's plenty of easy games left.
Those are really friendly. Most of those games you just mentioned are very friendly.
Yeah. So, based off strength of schedule record, they've got like the 6th softest schedule remaining. So there's going to be wins in this, in this season for him. And even if they lose tonight, hopefully he doesn't get crushed, but wouldn't be surprised to see his market come back to earth a little bit if he goes out tonight banged up and loses to Cincy.
Yep, agreed. Someone that I think that you would have had some buying opportunities for over the last couple of weeks, and again, that might be going out the window tonight, is the other side of that game in Joe Burrow. Yes. Obviously, they really got off to a rough start. 0-2, the offensive line that we thought was revamped was not. He was getting crushed. He did get his get right back spot against has last week. I think tonight's a big night for Burrow though, because he is down. If you just look at his base PSA 10, again, that pop is still growing, so keep that for what it is. It's now almost just around 5,000, but it's still down 23% over the last 2 weeks and 20% over the last month. Is his base PSA 10 Prism for a $200 card. His Silver is down about 6% over the last month. So not as much movement on that. That's still a $2,000 card, but you are seeing the market being a little reactionary to that really slow Bengals start.
So. Yeah, that's a good point. This team is still, as good as any. This is the same team that just went to the Super Bowl last season. The AFC got harder, but this team, I don't think, got any worse. And I think we start to see that turn around. We did see it with the Jets. Everyone expected that. I think we start to see it turn around tonight. We just talked about this game. I know it seems like everybody and their brother is on Bengals -4 tonight. I think it's going to turn around. Hopefully, I'm right with that take. But Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon, everybody looks in great form. They need some help from the offensive line to get back to where they were last season if they want to make a playoff run. But it does seem like a good time to buy Joe Burrow long term, especially if his market is down.
Yep, agreed.
Any other buy lows, like kind of off the wall buy lows or opportunities, maybe even skill position guys or anybody on all day that you've noticed that just seems too cheap right now and has a path at least to end of season or long-term relevancy?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't looked at specific numbers, but guys that I can just imagine are either sell highs or buy lows. Like Dak, probably still a buy low until he comes back over the next couple of weeks. I think makes some sense. Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to be tracking these guys. I was just looking at Justin Jefferson from a skill position standpoint because he's had a down 2 weeks. Doesn't look like his market has moved too much. I still think he's overvalued for what he is, just considering that his Silver PSA 10 is like a $600 card. So
yeah, right.
So I don't think that movement is made too much. I think Saquon's a sell high. I've been selling a lot of Saquon over the last couple of weeks. Anytime you get a chance to offload a running back, I think you should do it. But I love Saquon. I'm excited to see that he has been, looking like he was back in 2018 again. Other guys that, maybe have stood out to me a little bit.
I'll give you one on all day because
Go ahead.
Skill position guy, because I think they do better over there, and I think it's kind of easier to sell into the hype of a big time performance, a big fantasy week, a big spike week versus the card market where that's not so easy to do. Cortland Sutton, a guy that we were all pretty high on coming into the season. We were all pretty high on this Denver Broncos offense, really in general. And boy, Nathaniel Hackett, Russ Wilson have really underperformed and underwhelmed despite a soft opening schedule. His NFL All Day debut is out of $899, and right now has a low ask of $124, which is down 23% over the last 7 days.
Right.
I think this Broncos team figures it out. And, to say figures it out, it's not like they're in the dumps right now. They're 2-1, right? I mean, I think they figure it out. They're going to have a lot of fun AFC West matchups where they're going to be forced to pass more. He's going to have some massive, massive weeks in fantasy, in the box score. This Denver Broncos team, I think, can be good, though I do have my concerns. I think that you could sell that, 150 or more after a big week. So Cortland Sutton, 129 right now on NFL All Day, a debut moment out of $899. I think that's a pretty good moment.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think there's nowhere to go but up for this Denver offense. So that includes Russ, Sutton, Judy, and all of those guys. Javonte Williams as well, who's looked pretty good. But, they have a long way to go to find their true rhythm. I do think that they could start to get on the right track this weekend in division against the Raiders indoors in Vegas. So I could see that happening this weekend for sure. I'm definitely concerned about Kyler. A little bit concerned about Herbert and his injury. So there might be some buy low opportunities for him. Kyler would just kind of be a sit for me right now if we're just thinking about some of these other young quarterbacks.
Herbert's a good call, man. The rib injury and then to throw him out there. And obviously they were on the wrong side of that Jaguars win, that Trevor Lawrence win. If this sustains, I mean, if this Chargers team really struggles this season, you could see a good buy low opportunity. I don't know how long that will sustain. I expect this Chargers team to be better than they've shown, but Herbert was really banged up, man. I can't believe they threw him back out there down 28 in the fourth quarter. What were they thinking?
It's the Chargers can't get out of their own way, and I'm worried that it's going to get late fast for the Chargers here, even with this great roster. Just everything doesn't go the way. Keenan Allen's already banged up. We saw Bosa leave the game. Just like they have the worst luck from injury perspective, from everything. I mean, I'm a little concerned there, but I love Herbert still as talent. I just see monitor that market. That's all I'll say.
I want to get out of here on this because, we invested in Darnell Mooney and our FFPC main event team. Justin Fields is a guy that coming into the league, man, I was really excited for. He gets rid of Matt Nagy in it, and we thought maybe he was the problem. We thought maybe the roster is the problem. Is Justin Fields just the problem? I mean, Justin Fields hasn't looked great. Is he someone that we can even invest in? Is he a buy low opportunity? Is he like just sit and wait? He's got to show us more or anything? Or what can we do with Justin Fields at this point?
Remember preseason week 2 or whatever that was? I mean, what the hell happened from that point? I mean, the guy went ballistic. And this is where, obviously Cody and I did a lot of work during the preseason, but and Levitan does a great job talking about the takeaways that you can take from preseason, but that's one of those examples that, just because a starter and an offense is clicking in preseason does not mean that it will in the regular season. And I think there's only where to go but up. They're terrified to try to move the ball through the air right now. And maybe that's Eberflus being, extra conservative. Maybe it is a Justin Fields problem. I don't have the answer for you yet. It's a little bit too early in the season for me to have a definitive take on that. But if I had to lean in one way, it would be that Fields is not the guy. He is not him, as the people would say. But I don't want to say definitively. I want to see if this Bears team, because we saw down the stretch was when Darnell Mooney was starting to have those big games last year, right? We saw down the stretch was when the Bears were looking okay in the end of the season, and Justin Fields was having some fantasy relevant games as well. So I just want to give it some more time here. I don't want to be overreact. I don't want to overreact. I'm not dropping Darnell Mooney on our team. I'm not going to say Justin Fields is a complete bust, but it's not looking great. I'll say that.
Yeah, hopefully we'll wait and find out more on Justin Fields over the coming weeks. We do have a giveaway to get to, one that we have waited far too long on. We pulled the names last week, and then of course, forgot to mention it on the show. So Gary, do you have those names pulled up so we can tell the people what they won?
Very, very sorry for the delay on this, everyone. It's probably been like 6 weeks at this point since we first discussed this, but appreciate all your patience on it. We did draw everyone that did DM us and show us the screenshots of the YouTube and podcast ratings. Really appreciate all of that. Please keep spreading the word. Thank you guys so much. So we were giving away 3 cards, 2 Justin Herbert's patches, or 4 total Justin Herbert cards. One winner got 2 Justin Herbert cards. One winner got a Herbert and Tua. That value of that's gone up. And one winner got a Herbert and Zach Wilson. That's probably stayed around the same. But the Herbert and Tua might be the one you want now. So we did draw those winners. It was completely random on the randomizer wheel. So the 2 Justin Herbert cards are going to go to Aaron Wilson. Aaron, if you're hearing this, please do just DM me your address, and I will get them to you as soon as you do. The Herbert and Tua cards go to friend of the show, Mike Cianfroni. Mike, I know you've won a giveaway also in the past, I believe, and we've had some obviously some back and forth with you. So congratulations to you. You win the Herbert and Tua cards, and then Istanbul cards will take home the Justin Herbert and Zach Wilson. So Istanbul cards, please do DM me as well with your address, and I will get all those out to you guys. Whenever I get your addresses, I will do that as quickly as possible. Thank you for supporting the show. Can't thank you enough. Please do tell a friend, rate, subscribe, review, give us a YouTube follow, all that good stuff, and we'll continue to do those giveaways as we can. Obviously, we have a lot of football coming up, and then basketball is only 3 weeks away as well. So.
Yeah, glad you mentioned basketball. Basketball talk going to be coming up here very soon. I know you're ready to get your hands in the dirt.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, on the hardwood. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, right.
Yes, you're going to be very involved in the basketball, and I always enjoy catching up with you from the basketball perspective, because you've got such a unique perspective there, being involved in it every single night. So we will definitely get back to some basketball discussion along with the football, MLB playoffs coming up, UFC cards. Back in our lives every weekend. So
Verstappen also could be wrapping up the F1 championship in the next race too. So it's been a much less suspenseful F1 season as this one, but we'll catch up on F1 markets as well in the coming weeks. So.
And I think the bi-weekly show schedule has worked. It gives us time to catch up on everything, not to be too reactionary to markets, but also to kind of keep an eye on everything that's going on. So with our busy schedules, with the sports seasons now kind of colliding, it's probably going to be a bi-weekly show.
Yeah, during football season for sure. Yeah,
we'll be able to hammer more topics, but also kind of give our brains a little bit more time to process what we just saw. So we'll get out of there on that, guys. If you were announced a winner, please DM Gary or myself. We'll get you those cards sent out. And again, thank you for supporting our little show. We do appreciate it. For Gary, I'm Cody. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Take care, everybody.